As an experienced park ranger, I have dedicated more than a decade to the safeguarding of Alaska's Denali National Park, a sprawling wilderness spanning over 6 million acres. Enduring the harsh winters and navigating through blizzards, I've spent countless nights under the expansive Alaskan skies. My role as a ranger is multifaceted, and I serve as the park's vigilant observer, ensuring the delicate balance of nature remains undisturbed while also enforcing regulations to safeguard the well-being of both the park's inhabitants and its human visitors. This responsibility demands unwavering courage and resilience, especially considering the solitary nature of my patrols. Nestled on the western edge of Denali lies my assigned area, a remote expanse where the true essence of wilderness envelops you. My outpost, a modest cabin, stands solitary in a clearing, surrounded by dense forest that stretches for miles in every direction. Despite its isolation, the outpost offers a commanding view of the area, with the majestic Denali visible on clear days, its peak painted in a vibrant palette by the sunrise. Tourists rarely venture into this secluded part of the park as it lies far from the marked trails. During the daylight hours, the tranquility is palpable, but as night descends, a palpable shift occurs. The once familiar landscape transforms into an eerie realm cloaked in shadows where every sound and movement feels heightened, and an unsettling sensation of being watched pervades the air. It was on one of these hushed nights that I embarked on a peculiar assignment. A group of backpackers had reported hearing peculiar noises echoing through the forest, a series of clicks, reminiscent of stones striking together but with an otherworldly rhythm. Unnerved by the unfamiliar sounds, they hastily departed, leaving behind only a map marking their route for me to follow. Guided by the map, I embarked on my ATV traversing the silent trails. As I delved deeper into the forest, the usual sound of nocturnal wildlife seemed eerily absent, heightening my sense of unease. Eventually, I stumbled upon peculiar tracks in the underbrush, handprints and footprints, larger than any known animals, imprinted with unmistakable claw marks. Intrigued and wary, I followed the tracks deeper into the forest, my senses attuned to any hint of danger. Then amidst the darkness, I beheld the creature. An otherworldly being with pallid skin that seemed to gleam in the moonlight. Its humanoid form was unsettlingly gaunt, its eyes devoid of pupils resembling endless voids that absorbed the surrounding light. As the creature fixated its gaze upon me, a primal fear gripped me like never before. My instincts screamed of impending danger, yet I found myself paralyzed, unable to tear my gaze away from the enigmatic entity. Its rhythmic clicking emanating from its gaping mouth reverberated through the silent forest. For a timeless moment, we stood locked in a tense standoff, until with a sudden burst of movement, the creature vanished into the depths of the forest, leaving me shaken to my core. Struggling to regain my composure, I radioed in the encounter, my voice trembling as I relayed the harrowing experience. Returning to the outpost, I couldn't shake the lingering dread that clung to me like a heavy shroud. Throughout the remainder of the night, I remained on high alert, the ordinary sounds of the forest now imbued with a sinister undertone. The encounter with the unearthly creature had rattled me to the core, leaving me questioning the very fabric of reality in these wild, untamed lands. During my stint as a hunting guide in the rugged expanse of northwest Montana, navigating the treacherous terrain became second nature. Guiding elk hunts on horseback was my primary source of income, attracting weekend enthusiasts willing to part with a handsome sum for the coveted Montana elk. Despite the inevitable need to babysit these greenhorns, money spoke louder than complaints. Apart from hunting trips, I engaged in occasional odd jobs ranging from ranch work to aiding the fish and game department in wildlife studies. The past couple of years had me assisting in a project, traversing challenging landscapes where ATVs were impractical, necessitating the use of horses. It was an unexpected turn in my career, but I couldn't complain. The job allowed me to spend my days tracking in the wilderness without the hassle of overseeing city hunters. One fateful morning, a call jolted me awake at 4 a.m, urging me to rush to the Fish and Game office with my horses. The urgency in their request remained shrouded in mystery over the phone. Upon arrival, the parking lot brimmed with black SUVs bearing government plates, immediately triggering thoughts of potential legal trouble. Anxiety gnawed at me, suspecting an impending reckoning for my cash-in-hand hunting jobs. Approached by a stern-faced man, I was ushered inside after surrendering my cell phone and enduring a pat-down. Assurances that it had nothing to do with taxes barely eased my unease. The man revealed a clandestine mission. An invasive species had escaped and needed retrieval from the wilderness. The fatally wounded creature posed a threat to native animals if left unattended. An inexplicable scenario. Yet the man handed me $30,000 in cash and a satellite phone, entrusting me with the task. Curiosity gnawed at me as I inquired about the creature's identity. Vague responses left me more bewildered. It had been shot multiple times, yet it managed to elude capture. I was taken to the last blood spot, marking the beginning of my solitary journey into the unknown. Setting out with my horses, I pondered the absence of tracking dogs. The blood trail seemed sufficient for a skilled canine, yet the man explained that dogs had failed. Unsettling doubts about the endeavor began to cloud my resolve. Nevertheless, the lure of $30,000 propelled me forward into the challenging wilderness. Navigating rough terrain, it took the better part of the day to locate the creature. The blood trail, though clear, led through arduous landscapes. Eventually, I stumbled upon a massive pile of gray fur hidden in the underbrush, a creature desperately trying to conceal its impending death. It appeared larger than a horse with a peculiar mix of wolf and bear features. Approaching cautiously, I found it dead. Its unique features baffled me, resembling a hybrid of a wolf and a bear. The front legs seemed disproportionately longer, lending it an unusual stance. Speculations ran wild in my mind. Was it some experiment gone awry or a relic from the frozen depths of Siberia? A call to the authorities confirmed my discovery, but the logistical challenge of transporting the creature loomed. With no means to drag it through the mountains in one piece, the only option was to dismember it on site. The government agents reluctantly agreed, emphasizing the need to leave no parts behind. Packing the remains on all 3 horses, I met the government team on the forest's edge. Their black SUVs whisked away the mysterious creature's remnants without a word of explanation. Despite my burning curiosity, the lead officer handed me an envelope, signaling the end of the ordeal. Their departure was as swift as their arrival, leaving me with unanswered questions and a pocketful of cash. Resuming my duties with fish and game, the peculiar episode faded into the shadows. No one spoke of it again, and the bizarre hybrid creature became a silent enigma buried in the depths of my memory. I retained a small piece of its hide, a tangible reminder of an inexplicable encounter that would forever remain unexplained. As a construction worker, I am usually found on the job site, but my heart belongs to the great outdoors. Last week, I decided to venture onto the Applegate Trail up in the northwest. It was a change from my usual stomping grounds in the Great Smoky Mountains. The ruggedness and wildness of the Applegate intrigued me, drawing me in with promises of challenges and stunning scenery. Yet there were also tales circulating about peculiar occurrences and mysterious sightings along the trail. Legends whispered of inexplicable happenings and bizarre encounters. Despite my skepticism, what I witnessed challenged my disbelief. My campsite was nestled in a serene clearing by a babbling creek, the perfect setting for a peaceful night under the stars. However, tranquility gave way to disquiet as the night unfolded. A disturbance shattered the stillness, jolting me from my slumber. It was not the usual nocturnal symphony of the forest, but something altogether different. A deep, guttural noise pierced the darkness, resonating with an unsettling intensity. Initially mistaking it for an earthquake, I soon realized it was something far more ominous. The ground trembled beneath me in a rhythmic pattern, distinct from the sway of trees. Scratching and scraping sounds echoed through the night, reminiscent of claws on bark. While I'd encountered bears in the wilderness before, this was unlike anything I'd heard. The noise seemed deliberate, almost orchestrated, intensifying the sense of unease that gripped me. Adding to the eerie atmosphere was a pungent odor, primal and otherworldly, permeating the air and clinging to my senses. A palpable sensation of being watched consumed me, as though unseen eyes tracked my every move. Instinctively, I knew a predator lurked nearby, its presence tangible yet elusive. Rationalizing the experience proved futile as the night unfolded, revealing a tableau of dread and uncertainty. Then, amid the dying embers of my campfire, it revealed itself. A towering figure loomed at the edge of the clearing, its immense frame silhouetted against the night. Standing at least 8 feet tall, it exuded a malevolent aura that froze me in terror. Its movements were unnatural, betraying a struggle to reconcile its monstrous form with its upright posture. The glow of dying embers illuminated its eyes, twin orbs of yellow radiance that pierced the darkness with unnerving intensity. Within those luminescent depths lurked a sinister intelligence, devoid of mercy or remorse. It was a chilling realization that this entity, not a native of the wild, but something altogether alien and menacing. Features reminiscent of reptilian predators adorned its grotesque visage, their familiarity juxtaposed against its upright stance. The sight was unnerving, a convergence of primal instincts and humanoid form that defied comprehension. For an agonizing moment, we locked eyes in a silent exchange fraught with primal tension. Motionless and breathless, I awaited its next move, paralyzed by a fear unlike any I'd known. Then, as abruptly as it had appeared, it departed, its departure marked by a primal symphony of crashing foliage and trembling earth. Relief flooded my senses, mingled with a lingering dread that lingered long after its departure. As dawn broke, I hastily broke camp, eager to leave the specter of that nightmarish encounter behind. Though I have traversed countless trails in my lifetime, none have left an impression as profound as the Applegate Trail. To this day, every rustle of leaves and nocturnal noise serves as a haunting reminder of that fateful night. Some experiences defy explanation, leaving an indelible mark on the psyche that refuses to fade. I have shared this tale with a few folks, and most of them looked at me as though I'd gone batty. But I am telling you, I am as sane as they come. Cross my heart, what I am about to say is true to the bone. It all went down a while back during one of my adventuresome jaunts when I was indulging my thrill-seeking side. This time, I was all about spelunking, and my playground happened to be the famous Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. Ever since I was knee-high to a grasshopper, I have been itching for adventure. I spent countless hours living vicariously through heroes in books until I finally decided to start living out my own escapades. And spelunking, well, it called to me like a siren. There's something primal and downright therapeutic about it. It's a mix of thrill, tight spaces, darkness, and silence that's just plain magical. It's amazing how feeling small in the grand scheme of things can be so beautiful. Now, the Mammoth Cave is no joke. It's got this massive labyrinth of tunnels hidden under the rolling hills of Kentucky. I'd heard tales, seen photos, read accounts. This place had me hooked. So, when I finally set foot there, it was like a dream come true. It was midday when I reached the entrance, a bit later than planned, but I was not in any rush. As soon as I stepped inside, a quiet fell over me. I was not in the hills anymore. It was like entering a different world with just the sound of my own heartbeat and the occasional drip of water. My lamp cut through the darkness, revealing walls glittering with minerals. The cave was like a living masterpiece shaped by the hands of time. Rows of stalagmites stood like silent sentinels. It was breathtaking, and yet it felt ancient, whispering stories of ages past. This was why I loved caving. It felt like stepping into history itself. I lost track of time as I explored deeper into the cave's depths. Every twist and turn revealed something new and wondrous, but as I ventured further, the air grew heavier, the silence more profound. I started to feel like I was intruding on something sacred. Little did I know I was about to stumble into something beyond my wildest imagination. My usually keen sense of direction failed me. The stalagmites that were supposed to mark my path seemed to blur together, and my map was about as useful as a soggy biscuit. I was lost, alone in the heart of the Mammoth Cave. The realization hit me like a ton of bricks. and the silence seemed to mock me, growing louder with each passing moment. Just when I thought things could not get any worse, I felt a chill all over my body. It was that feeling you get when you are being watched, except there was no one there. Then came the sound. My heart pounded in my chest as I scanned the darkness with my headlamp. And that's when I saw it. Emerging from the shadows was a creature straight out of nightmares. It was part horse, part deer, part goblin, and wholly terrifying. Its skeletal form loomed over me, its eyes glowing with malice. I was frozen in fear, unable to move as it licked its black tongue across its teeth. But I wasn't about to become its next meal. With trembling hands, I hurled a rock at the creature and bolted in the opposite direction. Its piercing screech echoed through the cavern as I ran for my life. Miraculously, I made it back to the entrance, gasping for breath as I emerged into the daylight. That encounter shook me to my core. It shattered my bravado, reminding me that there are things out there beyond our wildest imaginings. Real monsters, lurking in the shadows. And whether we want to admit it or not, they're out there, waiting. Allow me to recount an unsettling incident from a few years back that lingers vividly in my memory. During that time, I resided in close proximity to Deadwood, South Dakota, immersing myself in the remnants of the gold rush era. The allure of those antiquated gold mines, teeming with tales of both hope and despair, captivated my imagination. Legends circulated that these mines concealed not only gold, but also malevolent entities eager to seize the souls of intruding miners. Now, I have always approached such tales with skepticism, attributing them to fabrications crafted to deter others from discovering precious treasures. Nevertheless, my perspective underwent a drastic transformation following my extraordinary visit to the abandoned Bodley mine. It happened on a crisp October morning as I readied myself for a solitary exploration. Equipped with a reliable headlamp, a sturdy rope, and a pickaxe, I ventured into the renowned Bodley mine. The entrance, as forewarned by the stories, exuded an eerie ambiance. The weathered wooden supports, resembling sun-bleached bones from a distance, hinted at the inherent dangers of exploring such places. The risk of cave-ins and potential encounters with wildlife lurked in the shadowy recesses. The cold wind weaving through the mine produced a haunting melody, while the stagnant air carried the scent of damp earth and musty wood. As I dived deeper, daylight gradually receded, leaving me with only the echoing footsteps and the narrow beam of light from my headlamp. Amidst the crumbling tunnels, I marveled at the tenacity of those early miners, toiling in darkness with little more than hope propelling them forward. The confined, mineral-streaked passages retained echoes of the past, simultaneously fascinating and unsettling. After a few hours of exploration, I noticed an abrupt drop in temperature. While underground environments tend to be colder, this change felt as if I had entered an icebox. My breath fogged up and a pervasive chill enveloped me. The scent of something rancid wafted through the air, initially subtle but intensifying with every step. A nauseating stench, akin to death itself, permeated the depths of the bodily mine. Soon, eerie noises accompanied the unsettling atmosphere. Gentle scrapes, as if something dragged across the dirt floor, echoed within the mine. Knocking and thudding emanated from the depths, reminiscent of distant labor despite the supposed abandonment of the mine. Whether echoes of the past or an unknown presence, the situation undeniably unnerved me. Continuing further into the mine, the sudden cold gave way to unexpected warmth, transforming the surroundings into a stifling sauna. Driven by an inexplicable urge, I pressed on, rounding a corner where my headlamp revealed an astonishing sight. A towering figure, roughly 9 feet in height, akin to an elk or moose, but grotesquely emaciated. Its skeletal frame, covered in decaying flesh peeling off its bones, rendered it impossible for such a creature to be alive. The creature's face, with paper-thin, stretched skin, resembled a bare skull. Devoid of visible eyes, only 2 black voids adorned its head, yet it fixated on me with an unsettling intensity. The realization struck me. A Wendigo, a creature from folklore, a harbinger of terror. Panic set in, but rather than flee, fear rooted me to the spot. The Wendigo maintained its silent gaze, the standoff dragging on until I regained control of my limbs. Retreating slowly, I maintained eye contact with the creature's empty sockets until reaching the mine entrance. The Wendigo disappeared from view, but the searing heat lingered. Without further investigation, I hastily retreated to my truck, overcome with shivers. Since that encounter, I've relocated from Deadwood, carrying with me a haunting memory that persists to this day. Whether a hallucination or a harsh reality, the uncertainty lingers, leaving me to ponder the existence of such entities in our world. Savannah, with its rich history, has always intrigued me. Being one of the oldest cities in Georgia, it's like stepping back in time with every cobblestone street and colonial-era building. My friend Marty, a resident there, invited me to spend a weekend in 2019 exploring the city's charms. One topic that always captivated us was the local tales of hauntings and ghostly encounters. Savannah seemed to have no shortage of such stories, each one adding to the city's mystique. One Saturday night, we decided to join a ghost tour, thinking it could be a fun way to dive into Savannah's darker side. As we ventured into the historic district under the moonlit sky, the old buildings seemed to come alive with stories of their own. Our guide, a towering man with a voice that resonated through the night, led us through the maze of streets, weaving tales of lost loves and tragic fates. Starting from Monterey Square, with the imposing Mercer House casting shadows, we traversed through dimly lit lanes and listening intently to the haunting narratives. Despite my initial skepticism, I found myself drawn into the atmosphere, the stories stirring a mix of emotions within me. Marty, usually lighthearted, grew quieter as the night wore on, a testament to the tour guide's storytelling prowess. Each stop on the tour brought us closer to the heart of Savannah's haunted history. From the colonial cemetery to the sorrel weed house, each location seemed to hold its own secrets hidden in the shadows of the past. By the time we reached Calhoun Square, the atmosphere had become palpably charged with an eerie energy. Surrounded by tales of anonymous burials and restless spirits, I couldn't shake off the feeling of unease that settled over me. Standing before a rundown house, our guide began recounting another tale when I felt a tug at my jacket sleeve. Assuming it was Marty, I turned to reprimand him, only to find him standing a few feet away. Confusion clouded my thoughts as I glanced down to see an old locket at my feet. Before I could react, a cold hand gripped my shoulder. As I turned around, I was met with the spectral figure of a woman, her form translucent yet undeniably real. Her presence seemed to weigh heavily on the air, and whispers echoed around us. The sight of chains around her wrists and the name Amelia lingered in my mind as she vanished into the night. The remainder of the tour passed in a blur, and the encounter with Amelia leaving a mark on my thoughts. That night, fueled by curiosity and a hint of fear, I delved into the mystery surrounding her disappearance. What I uncovered only added to the sense of foreboding that hung over Savannah like a shroud. With the locket in hand, bearing the name of the mysterious Amelia, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had stumbled upon something beyond mere superstition. Savannah's past seemed to intertwine with the present in ways I couldn't fully comprehend. As I pondered the events of that night, I realized that some mysteries are best left unsolved, lest they unravel the very fabric of reality itself. Savannah, with its hidden secrets and ghostly whispers, had stirred something within me that I couldn't ignore. And perhaps, in confronting the unknown, I had found a deeper connection to the city and its haunted history.